Hello everyone, NoctemZero here, and today I'm doing my honest review of Marvel's The Punisher on Netflix. I will say this is spoiler territory, so please, if you guys have not seen The Punisher yet, what the hell are you doing watching this video? Go watch it and come right back. I swear to God, many spoilers to talk about, a few gripes, but I'm trying to see if I can keep improving on these reviews. And without further ado, here is my review. Okay, so first off, the story pretty much picks up a little bit, well, there's actually quite some time actually after the events of Daredevil, because between Daredevil Season 2 we had, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and of course the Defenders. So a lot of time has passed. The very first episode of The Punisher, like the very few minutes pretty much showed him what he did immediately after Daredevil Season 2. And he pretty much went after everybody involved and killed them all, and then that was it. Apparently, for everyone else, the Punisher was dead. Performance-wise, I think Jon Bernthal did a great job as Frank Castle. Not to say that, okay, I still liked Thomas Jane as the Punisher back in 2004. And Ray Winstone, if I'm thinking that's his name or whatever, from Punisher Warzone. Like, they tried to make Warzone a sequel, of course, but I don't know. I mean, Thomas Jane, I think, did a good job portraying the character. It's just it was too far off the rails, but he lost so much more than just wife and kids. So that one I really did like a lot, and not many people did, but I thought it was cool. While the second guy, honestly, I think out of everybody, he's the only one that looked the most comic book accurate to the character. He got the look down. He played him pretty well. He was the most physical imposing Punisher out of all of them, because Jon Bernthal is kind of shorty. Like, he's real short from just by looking at him. I'm like, I feel like I could just like lean over him or something like that, because I'm 6'1", and but I think that he portrayed Frank Castle really well. I can't complain about that. They brought in Micro or Microchip, but they cut the name down to Micro. First time we ever hear this character is actually in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So it was nice that we finally get to see this character outright and in the flesh. Although his character is completely different than what was portrayed in the comic books, animated series of Spider-Man. Even Punisher Warzone tried to make it more comic book accurate. This one they decided, let's just go with a skinny hacker, Edward Snowden looking guy. That wasn't bad though. I honestly think that Micro did play a good role in the show. And what else? I mean, they tried to pretty much cater this more towards like new viewers and returning viewers and whatnot. I mean, because they brought in some original characters with only one character from Daredevil showing up, Karen, which I'm glad that she showed up. I think it was a good bit of closure, because it showed that there is something there between Frank and Karen that was going on. And part of me kept thinking that Karen was just a little too involved in Daredevil, but in this one it felt right, because, I mean, we already knew the history, so we were happy to see Karen show up and show her, I guess, support for Frank, despite the fact that she didn't agree with a lot of the killings that he was doing. She was more or less trying to steer him away, but, you know, they always butt heads. One character I didn't expect for them to bring in was Billy Russo. Now, the character name may not seem familiar to most of you, but Billy Russo will eventually become Jigsaw by most likely the second season. I mean, they've already teased that heavily on the final episode. We'll get more to that in a sec. To talk more about the series, I mean, it's pretty much just Frank realizing that there were a few people he missed in terms of those he had to punish in order to avenge his family. But it doesn't get to his attention right away. Of course, Micro had to find him out, and it's kind of funny how they made the dynamic with Microchip and and the Punisher. They pretty much made them both kind of need each other in a lot of ways. It turned out to be like a bit of a buddy type series as well, because the way they played off each other actually was pretty smart. It wasn't like much of the other, like Punisher Warzone, where Frank and Microchip were having issues from the get-go. In this one, it's like Frank didn't want his help, and then he had to be sure that this guy was on the up and up and all that, and it was rocky for the most part. I mean, I think one of my favorite scenes between them is when he mixes like tuna or something in the car for Frank to eat while they were driving, and then he pulls out a huge freaking sandwich, and Frank questions where he got that, and he asks if he even made him one. He's like, nope, and he just got this pissed off look. I thought that was a nice bit of comedy, which again, I there's too much over comedy in Marvel these days, and it's nice to see something that feels natural and more it flows in instead of just something that's forced. Um, anyway, to go back to talking about Jigsaw, I mean, they changed the dynamic where Billy Russo in the comics, from what I do remember, was a mafia hitman, a really good one at that. But of course, an encounter with the Punisher left his face horribly disfigured to where he kind of went a little crazy, kind of like the Joker, and changed his name to Jigsaw for just because of his face, pretty much. And he's pretty much been the Punisher's notorious enemy for a little while. In this incarnation of Billy Russo, however, he was the best friend to Frank Castle, and pretty much is heavily involved in how and why Frank's family was killed. I actually like that they did this dynamic. I mean, the the hero and the villain dynamic where they start out as friends. It's classic. It's nice, and you don't really see that too often nowadays. If you really think about it, a lot of the comic book stuff that's been out lately, they don't touch on or make the heroes hero and villain friends. So to see how they started off as friends and then ended up becoming bitter enemies by the end of the series was awesome. Even to how he made him into Jigsaw by the end of it. Just it was kind of similar to Punisher Warzone, but instead of glass bottles, he just kept slamming his head into a mirror a bunch of times until it scarred his face. Um, and another thing I like about the Punisher is that they made it more realistic. I mean, they pretty much made it to where he can't just simply get over his wife and kids being gone. The way they explained it in Daredevil season 2 is that the way he survived the gunshot wound or whatever, it left his brain so messed up that he keeps seeing his family dying over and over every day. It's a head injury, and there's just no coming back from it. And it's nice that the show showed you even more inside his head, because in Daredevil they didn't focus that on him, whereas in the Punisher, because it is his own self-titled series, it we finally get to see inside his head, see what he's thinking, and just see how tortured the guy is, and that was cool. Although I will say the things that did annoy me about this show, despite the fact that I did enjoy watching it, it was too much filler. Like, there was just too much. I thought Stranger Things had a lot of filler. Nope, this had way too much filler. For one, I didn't really care about the Mad Bomber character that they introduced, which I thought was dumb. Even watching it, it didn't feel like it should have been part of the show. It completely detracted away from what the main show was, and I feel like they only added it because they didn't know what else to put in. And I don't know, it just felt pointless. I watched it and I was like, I don't really care about this. I don't care how. I mean, I understand PTSD and soldiers and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, they didn't make us care about this guy any more than what they showed. It's just every decision he made, we kept thinking. I mean, I know I kept thinking, this guy's a friggin' idiot. Um, I mean, everything he did, they didn't really give us too much information on what happened over there. So, again, didn't care about the character. Thought the whole arc was dumb, and the whole thing with Frank's what is it? Public speaker person, whatever, the counselor. Anyway, he helped counsel vets. Anyway, that little bit where he got his ass kicked by the Mad Bomber guy. I didn't even bother learning his name. That's why he was so damn boring. But Kurt, he got his ass kicked by the guy, and then after Frank saves him from the bomb strapped to his chest, they don't bother bringing him back until the last episode. And I just thought, God, why even wait so damn long? I mean, they don't really talk about him much at that point. Um, but there was good character development with the characters, with the main portion of the cast. I mean, seeing Billy. I mean, Billy was really charismatic. He played the part well. Like, it didn't hit me that it was Jigsaw at first because it just was so far out there. Because when I think of Jigsaw, I keep thinking of a mafia hitman. So when I finally heard his name is Billy Russo, I'm like, wait a minute, Billy Russo. Why does that name sound so damn familiar? And then it took me a minute to realize Jigsaw, and I'm like, holy shit. And then it's like, at first I liked the character, but it was when I started realizing who it was, I'm like, oh, you're likable, but I know you're kind of an asshole eventually. But it turns out he was always an asshole. Um, Again, pacing was just way, way crazy in this thing, but didn't help me. Like, didn't make me not really like it as much. I still enjoyed it. It's just it was just too jumbled up, kind of like this review. Um, and one thing that I didn't like is how it concluded. Yeah, sure, everybody got killed for the most part, bad guy wise, and they obviously set it up for season two, showing Billy apparently being under the knife for 11 hours trying to repair the damaged tissue to his face. But they also said that now he's got some brain trauma that could affect his memory, his personality, just a bunch of different things, and they just don't know what kind of person he's going to be after all that mess, which we as fans already know. Another thing about that is that it just shows Frank going to one of the meetings with the soldiers, and he's talking, and it just cuts to black like The Sopranos, and it's like, what? That's it. It just ends with him talking with a bunch of vets. Like, I don't mind that he's finally got the closure and that everybody that was involved was dead, but I kind of expected more than just him going to a meeting, trying to live a normal life. I don't know. And the only way I see season two playing out is that, for obvious reasons, Billy wakes up, escapes from either he escapes from the hospital, or someone seeks out of services. But I'm leaning more towards escapes from the hospital. First person he's probably going to visit is Kurt, and he's going to mutilate him. He's going to send a message to Frank because obviously he was trying to kill him in the last episode. Didn't succeed, but Billy Russo seems like the guy that doesn't leave loose ends. So who knows where they're going to take the character of Jigsaw. I mean, they might kill him in the second season of The Punisher. They might do something more. I mean, a lot of the supervillains that weren't dealt with a lot of these characters and over their respective shows will seem like they're going to be making some kind of comeback. I mean, it'd be interesting if they did Defenders and then they all did unite against the villains, but who knows. Anyway, for anything else about this, I mean, casting was great. It was John Bernthal, probably the best Punisher I've seen, and I want to see a season two. I'm hoping season two will fix the pacing and fix the damn filler, because, like, honestly, if you're gonna add filler, make it make sense. Don't let it be just a damn side story. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you guys like about the Punisher? What did you dislike about it? And just, yeah, just take care, and I'll see you guys next time.